All right, welcome back. In a significant ruling today, the Supreme Court of India, through a bench comprising Justices Vikram Nath, Sandeep Mehta and N.V. Anjaria, addressed the escalating menace of stray dogs attacking people, including children, in public places and spaces. Taking suo motu cognizance of rising incidents, the court ordered the immediate removal of all stray dogs from key public premises nationwide. This includes educational institutions, hospitals, bus stands, sports complexes, railway stations and other government facilities. Authorities across states and union territories, along with the National Highways Authority of India, must ensure no stray dogs inhabit these areas. Local municipal bodies are also directed to conduct regular inspections and enforce strict compliance. The court mandated that captured dogs be relocated to designated shelters within 8 weeks, emphasizing humane treatment and proper care during confinement. The verdict balances animal welfare with public safety, prohibiting stray dogs from re-entering public zones while calling for expanded shelter infrastructure. It also extends to stray cattle and other animals on highways, requiring dedicated patrol teams for swift relocation. This pan-India directive aims to curb dog bites and attacks, which have surged alarmingly in recent years, restoring safety in communal spaces without compromising compassion. Let's talk about this with our guest. Joining us on the show at this point in time is Manvi Rai, animal activist. Divyam Khera, lawyer, Supreme Court, also joins us on the show. Sonali Chopra, lawyer for the Delhi High Court, is with us on the program as well. Ambika Shukla, Animal Welfare, PFA, is also with us on the program. Manvi Rai, I'll begin with you. I hope you're here with us. Manvi? I guess not. Divyam, if you're there with us?
Yes, I'm there.
All right. Divyam, it's a good, ruling that the Supreme Court has made. But, whenever I have spoken to animal activists, the problem usually comes between the lip and the cup. There could be a shortage of shelter homes for these dogs. Some of them don't even exist, and the volumes that we are talking about, I read somewhere that there are about 65 million stray dogs in our country. Do we have the wherewithal and the bandwidth to accommodate all of these dogs into these non-existent homes and then compassionately take care of them?
Not at all. And as you said, you're right, that there are no that many shelters throughout the country to house even 20,000 dogs. Let's say, and over here we're talking about lakhs of dogs. What we have a problem today is that today, again, the animal side was not heard. The NGOs, the advocates that were representing the animals, the NGOs that were representing the advocates, they were not given a chance to be heard. And as the rule of law says that every party has the right to be heard. On 11th of August, what exactly we raised our voices was for proper adjudication of a issue. Please hear us. Today, again, the Honorable Supreme Court refused to hear us. And that is exactly where our problem is. We need to understand the root cause of the problem that we are facing today is the failure of the municipalities across the country. For 25 years, there have been ABC rules in the place. The sterilizations have not taken place throughout the country. Why do we have animals in public places today is completely because of the corruption in the municipalities. And when they were not able to sterilize the dogs, the population has increased over the years because of the failure of municipality. And we are very disheartened because this failure has now come onto the dogs. And where will they take the dogs? Because we feel that this is unimplementable, and there are lakhs of schools, bus stands throughout the country, and to have them all cleared in 8 weeks is a false dream that we are looking at. And more than that, the ethos of this country are when we look at Sanatan Dharam or any religion you take, kindness and compassion is deep rooted. Our G20 slogan was Vasudev Kutumbakam. We were telling all the countries to imbibe them in their, in nations that treat all animals equally, treat all living beings equally, all souls. But today's order, I'm sorry to say, is against the ethos of this country, which says Vasudev Kutumbakam.
Okay, fair enough. Sonali Chopra, are you there with us? Sonali?
I'm here.
All right, this is against the ethos of the country, and this is obviously against the compassionate perspective that a number of activists have towards stray dogs, but the fact of the matter is that the order is one thing, the implementation in itself can be a nightmare, considering the fact that if you look at the MCD, if you look at the other municipal corporations around the country, they may not be equipped to handle this kind of a volume when it comes to taking care of these dogs.
100%. This implementation is going to create havoc in this country. It is going to be a drama we all will stand and watch. It's as simple as that. If they did not have the basic sensibility to implement the ABC rules, where it is catch, sterilize, release. Here we are talking catch, sterilize and shelter. And take care of them, feed them, give them veterinary, services as and when they need. It's impossible. This cannot happen. There is no infrastructure, and as per many affidavits filed by the states, we don't know what funds are allocated. Where are these funds? Where are the funds going to come from for making the walls that they've been told to make, the fencing they've been told to do? Educational institutes don't have funds to get teachers. There are posts for vacancies for teachers, and this is what we want the funds to go towards. I mean, I have no idea how this is going to be implemented.
Okay. Manvi Rai, if you're there with us. Manvi Rai? Manvi, are you there with us?
Can you hear me now? Yes.
Yeah, well, just a few days ago, I was reading an article about the government not having enough funds to repair roads, construct roads, and maintain roads in some of the tier 1 cities across India as well. How are they going to come up with budgets to streamline the safety as well as security of these innocent dogs?
I think today's ruling does not make sense. Forget the budgeting. They do not even have the personnel. I have a small NGO of about 100 dogs, and the monthly expense and the number of employees I have. When they say something like this, they are talking about crores and crores. And to fit in about 10 to 11 lakh dogs, I'm just talking about Delhi. You can just imagine how much land you need, because I have 100 dogs on 1 acre of land. So it is absolutely impossible to do this. And, if they really have funding, because the plan that they are saying, which I'm saying is just a joke, that requires about probably 30, 40,000 crores. If they, more than that, 300, 400 crores, if they have that kind of money, why are they not using it for bigger issues? When they talk about dogs and giving them a shelter, at this point of time in Delhi, we have 3 lakh homeless people. So if they say that human life is more important, then why are they not rehabilitating these people?
Okay. Ambika Shukla, your thoughts on this? The Supreme Court, of course, like you heard from one of the previous panelists as well, not giving too much heed to the justifications that were proposed in support of these animals.
On August 11th, an order was passed which said exactly the same thing, that remove all dogs to shelters. That order had to be changed, and it was supposed to be changed not only because it was against the law itself, but it was unimplementable. Now, just at that time in August, there were 0 shelters. 3 months later, there are still 0 shelters. So the order in itself is bad because it's unimplementable. How can the court direct dogs to be removed to shelters when those shelters do not exist? Forget the shelters also. Let us come step by step. There is no census of dogs, so we do not even have the numbers. So how many dogs are we talking? How many shelters do we need? How much funding is needed for those shelters? We have not even undertaken the basic steps. So the court has vaulted over common sense, it has vaulted over the law, it has vaulted over traditions, it has vaulted over even its own previous orders. Every previous order of the Supreme Court has said supported the ABC program, which is totally against relocation. Relocation is the cause of bites. When you remove friendly, familiar, sterilized, healthy dogs from their locations, what happens? Unfamiliar, new, unsterilized dogs move into that area, and you will find an increase of conflict. Now, this is precisely what will happen. Where will these dogs go when there are no shelters? There is no provision for those shelters. These dogs will simply be thrown out, and they will come onto streets, they will come onto public places, and you will find there will be an increase in conflict. So far from resolving the problem in a sound and scientific manner, this order actually aggravates the issue. Now, I would say that you have an ABC program, which is a WHO endorsed program. WHO is not a veterinary organization, nor is it an animal welfare organization. It is the world's premier health organization, human health. When the WHO has recommended the ABC program as the only single scientific and proven way to reduce dog numbers, curb biting, and eliminate rabies, why are we trying to reinvent the wheel? We have got a program. Where does the problem lie? With the implementation. The implementation has been given to municipalities which have been bogged down in corruption. They have kept it at low priority. The staff is unmotivated, untrained, uninterested in the job. Obviously, you're going to have a failure of a program. But why should the punishment come onto the dogs for the punishment of the municipality? If anybody needs to be taken away and punished, it is probably the corrupt municipal officials who for years have been tasked with implementing this program and have not done so. We say even now that this program is sound, we can implement it. People who know, understand dogs, understand the triggers that can cause behavior, understand the ways to prevent that behavior. Why are animal people being excluded not just in the implementation but even from the court? A hearing conducted without hearing all sides is not a hearing. That's not justice. That's a joke. So when you have a court that disenfranchises one complete party, how do they expect to arrive at a scientific and sound solution? No. It is a biased, prejudiced order because one side has not been heard. This is, this is unheard of. Not only did the Supreme Court ask that animal welfare organizations pay to be heard, but then they even denied them the opportunity of being heard. So, it seems totally unfair. We have always looked to the courts.
Ambika Shukla, there is also this. Ambika Shukla, there has been a lot of talk about, can you hear me, Ambika? Can I stop you there? I have another follow-up question for you, please. Can you hear me now?
Tell me.
Well, there's also been a lot of talk about dog bites. There's been a lot of talk about rabies. There's been a lot of talk about children and elderly not feeling safe in parks throughout the country. How would you try and offset that argument?
None of this information has been verified. In fact, the case on which the Suomoto action was taken is in itself a completely unverified speculative report. The child who was supposed to or claimed to have been a victim of rabies, there was no medical report to that effect. In fact, the doctors certified that it was brain fever. Brain fever means meningitis. So even this report was false. Since when did the Supreme Court start basing its judgments on media? Whenever in the past any media report has been produced before the Supreme Court has always asked for verification and corroboration. It has never swallowed what the media reports, because in many instances, the media gets it wrong. The media is a one-day thing. They just have to fill their pages or fill their TRPs, and it's done very quickly and not always with sound research. But the court is not the same thing. The court is supposed to deliberate. The court is supposed to verify. The court is supposed to corroborate. And the court is supposed to evaluate. If the court were to simply swallow media stories, then why do we need a court? Then it's a media trial. So I would say that we have not been given the opportunity to present science, evidence, and corroborated information because we have never been given the opportunity to be heard. That is all we are seeking. Let the court hear us. We have the
Okay.
evidence, we have the numbers. Rabies is down to 56 in a country of 1.5 billion people. So where is this escalation? Where is this huge crisis? Rabies is down from 20,000 cases a few years ago to just 56, and these are corroborated.
Okay, all right.
government
Let me
figures.
bring in Divyam back into this conversation. Divyam, what do you think should have been the recourse when it came to addressing this problem? Do you think that a slow and steady, a rhythmic, a pragmatic approach, which juxtaposed building up of infrastructure for dogs, should have been the value adopted by the courts as well as the authorities here? And do you think that this is also a knee-jerk reaction to calm down those people who have been complaining about the dog menace?
See, in the order, para 15, page 12 of the order, the Supreme Court says that implementation of the EBC rules has been ineffective, to say the least, across jurisdiction, and the persistence of stray dog population has continued to increase. So they have recognized that the population is increasing, but rather than holding the municipalities accountable, which were supposed to implement the ABC rules, they have actually just thrown all the dogs under the bus. Very easy to say. See, in a country of 140 crore people, there are social issues. Now, women's safety is a social issue, child abuse is a social issue, and so is there are other issues which need to be tackled, not with a knee-jerk reaction. It's very easy to say, okay, 8 weeks, lock up all the dogs from all these institutional areas. But when we say institutional areas, we're talking about 14 lakh schools, we're talking about 1 lakh hospitals, we're talking about thousands of bus stands. So it's not so easy to say, okay, within 8 weeks, do it. And when the Supreme Court is cognizant of the fact that this is a failure of the municipality, for the past 25 years, they've not sterilized the dogs. How can they actually think that, they will do the work in 8 weeks? And rather than, it's as good as saying that, yes, there is a social issue, but rather than holding the government, the municipality, and the people who are supposed to do the work accountable, we are just doing a victim blaming. Instead of, it's like saying the women are responsible for their, whatever they're facing, or the children are responsible for whatever they're facing, rather than the authorities. And the least of all, if they would have given us a chance to be heard, that's all what we were asking for. The highest court of this country cannot, just function on one-sided media reports and not even give the other party a chance to be heard. This is exactly what happened on the 11th of August, and today we are at the same place. This is exactly where our grievance lies.
Okay. All right. Let me also rope in Manvi into this conversation again. Manvi, of course, like somebody said on the panel, that this has been a media trial, but a lot of people also argue and throw in stats that there are 3.7 million dog bites every year, averaging around 10,000 every day. Rabies numbers, as pointed out by Ambika ji, are less than 100 in a country of 1.5 billion. There are also reports which the Supreme Court has been submitted that go on to talk about rabies cases above 5,000. Do you think these conflicting facts have also somehow muddied the actual outlook towards this issue?
Absolutely, because if you see most of the media houses, they have their data don't match. So one would say the population is 3 lakhs, the other one would say that 6 lakhs, then one is saying there's 10 lakhs. Rabies cases also vary from media house to media house. So who is giving them this data? Who is providing these facts? And how are we going to, verify them? And that is what we were expecting.
Just to stop you, if you go on the WHO website today, it goes on to say that dog bites are responsible for 55,000 people losing their life every year in India. This is something that I'm reading off from the WHO site right now. So obviously there is this huge misrepresentation
and absolutely,
of facts.
People should not lose their life because of rabies. And why are rabies cases happening? That is the first point. And now when you talk about entire India and you are saying 55,000 cases, let me tell you, last year itself, there were about 2 lakh people dying of pollution. There were 3 to 4 lakh, somewhere between that, deaths due to road accident. What about that, which is a higher number? Even currently, if you see the pollution, the air quality index in Delhi, why are things, if death is the issue, then there are a larger number of deaths. I'm talking of lakhs because of pollution, because of the roads that we have. Why is that not a bigger agenda?
You know,
And
there is also okay. Well, since
as I said that
yeah,
you have
Manavi,
the
since we
word
don't have anybody who's in fact defending what the Supreme Court did, I'm going to take that onus and try to in fact weigh in both sides of the argument. A 4-year-old girl, Khadira Banu from Devangri in Karnataka, died of rabies in August 2025. She was attacked in April. It was an unprovoked attack. She couldn't have instigated these dogs. This was in fact one of the pivotal moments which led to this angst against stray dogs. So what do you have to say to that?
now, India should have been a rabies-free country. This should not happen. This can happen to me as well. I'm a dog lover. It can happen to me as well. But why are we having rabies cases? That is the bigger question. Why has the population gone up? That is something the Supreme Court has also mentioned. If we have adopted the World Health Organization protocol, and by adopting that, Netherlands is stray dog free. They have not a single rabies case. If Bhutan has been able to do it, if Romania is able to do it, why hasn't India been able to do it? That is the big question. Are you going to blame dogs for this? Or are you going to blame people who were authorized to get their sterilizations and vaccinations done? Where did the funding go?
I just would like to interrupt, sorry.
Sure. Go ahead.
Mr. Malhotra, like you mentioned, 55,000 deaths as per the WHO site. I am on the WHO site right now. It says 18 to 20,000 deaths on the site right now when I'm live. And it also says that the data is not fully known. Like we are trying to say that the data is completely flawed. Even, unfortunately, you also got it wrong. You said 55,000 while on the site it says 18,000 right now. And it clearly says that the data is not fully known. That is exactly what we were trying to say. Had the courts heard us, we would have tried to give them the correct data. We have the scientific proof, and the WHO, the organization that you quoted, is exactly the organization that has upheld the ABC rules. So rather than the court enforcing the municipalities and the chief secretaries and the administration to enforce the ABC rules correctly, it's like a whip, magic wand. They're saying that within 8 weeks get the dogs out of the shelters. And
I would like to make a point over here as well, please. Sorry, Divyam, I'm just butting in. I've been doing this work for the last 5 years, and I can proudly say that in 5 years, for the last 3 years, there's not been a single puppy in my village and not a single rabies case. So if a woman can do it single-handedly for a village, why isn't the government able to do it for the country? Why not?
Okay, all right. Let me also rope in Sonali into this conversation, though we have a paucity of time. Sonali, you've heard all the other panelists. You've heard the counter arguments against what the Supreme Court also did. Where do we go from here? There are countries like Switzerland, Austria, Germany, Netherlands, United Kingdom, Sweden, which have laws against tormenting and exploitation of dogs in any form. What does this mean for a country like India?
Funnily, we have those laws in place too, for whatever it's worth. We have the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act, we have it in our constitution, but we have the ABC rules, but I think we are at a place where everybody seems to have forgotten all of that. We are now making the law as we go. Pick up the dogs, throw them away, don't sterilize, eat up the money, do what you feel like. Just, we don't get out on the roads. We've heard, I'm surprised that in a Supreme Court order, the footnotes are media reports. This is the first time I have, being a lawyer for 13 years now, seen an order where the footnotes are newspaper articles, unverified. In a suo moto case, started on a newspaper article, which, as already pointed, was not the correct reporting. Where are we as a nation? Our constitution talks about natural justice, giving a hearing to every affected party. We 2 lakhs each has been paid by I don't know how many NGOs. No one heard, no respected lawyer heard, no party in person heard, no authorized representative heard. We have to come down to the roads to be heard. have to fall back on social media to be heard. Is that where we live? And today when someone goes and mentions a pollution, let's hear a urgent mentioning about a pollution matter, that is denied because that's not important. I mean, that is the kind of joke that is happening. And I say this with responsibility. Unfortunately, I'm part of the system.
You're
And
absolutely
it's
right.
so sad. Where do we go from here? It's ridiculous. The dogs are the least of our problems.
Okay, fair enough. Well, we have a paucity of time. I would have loved to talk more about this, but the fact of the matter is that this is not, I'm sure, the end of the story. We'll get to see transformations when it comes to the lives of dogs through various means and sources. That's also happened in the past, and we should take solace from that. Would like to thank everyone who became a part of this conversation. We'll take a short break on this note. Be right back.